Courtroom. When I wasn't in the courtroom, of course, but when I saw his coming out of his car and this or that, I saw a scared puppy.
Sorry, Nancy, that's President Trump just hours after being arrested by Biden's corrupt DOJ, surprising a wedding party at Bedminster. Does he look scared? Is he a scared puppy? But President Trump got wind of that old windbags comment, and he fired back with perhaps the single most epic post yet. Quote, I purposely didn't comment on Nancy Pelosi's very weird story concerning her husband. But now I can because she said something about me with glee that was really quite vicious. I saw a scared puppy, she said, as she watched me on television, like millions of others who, of course, didn't see that. I wasn't, quote, scared. Nevertheless, how mean a thing to say. She, Nancy Pelosi, is a wicked witch whose husband's journey from hell starts and finishes with her. She's a sick and demented psycho who will someday live in hell. A sick and demented psycho who's going to live in hell. I mean, no one can dish it like the Don. That's an amazing post. And it's classic Trump. And for all the right reasons. What we just saw there with that post is a perfect example of how Trump has successfully tapped into and recalibrated what scholars call resentment politics. The permanent political class has long used resentment politics to divide and conquer the populace. You see, for centuries, our political elites have feared this very powerful, very threatening sentiment known as resentment because they're worried that once it reached a critical mass among the people, it could lead to rebellion. I mean, just ask Marie Antoinette, right? And so what political elites tended to do, and we see this going all the way back to the political rhetoric of classical Athens and Rome. We're talking thousands of years. But what they tended to do was foster an internal unity among the people, right, among the citizens, by creating a specter of an external enemy. And that's because external threats tend to breed internal solidarity. But scholars notice that since the 1960s, our politicians, particularly Democrats, but in fairness, the political class as a whole, they found they could even more effectively deflect resentment away from themselves if they divided the population by focusing on an enemy from within. In other words, politicians turned their attention away from external threats and began focusing on internal threats, which transformed resentment into a tool for dividing the populace and diffusing resistance. So for decades, the Democrats have been masters at turning what were once considered external threats like illegal immigration. They've turned the illegal immigrants into victims, while at the same time, they've demonized their political opponents internally, citizens of the nation, as xenophobes and racists and bigots worthy of being socially marginalized and canceled. What made Trump so unique is he, from the very moment he announced his candidacy, he laser focused mass resentment back on the political class. That's why they hate him so much and why they're so obsessed with getting rid of him, most especially the corrupt nut, Nancy Pelosi. By the way, you know we can use Pelosi's corruption against her, right? For our own benefit. Did you know that? I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about here. Companies like BlackRock, they've been bribing corrupt politicians like Nancy Pelosi with insider trading secrets for decades now. They know a whole host of trading secrets that give them an unfair advantage when picking stocks. But did you know that thanks to a little-known SEC database, guess what? We can have access to those very secrets as well. We get to see what stocks these corporate CEOs are buying up in real time, and then we get to piggyback on their trades to gain the same advantage for ourselves that Pelosi and the crooks in D.C. have. My friend Ross Givens has been tracking insider trading for years, and his recommendations have led to investment returns of over 200%. Some have hit as high as nearly 1,500%. And now it's your turn. Click on that link below right now and learn how you too can learn to trade like Pelosi. Click on that link and learn how to gain an insider advantage for yourself today. This recalibration of resentment politics it's exactly what the Marxist sycophants in the legacy media simply don't understand about Trump. They're treating Trump's latest post like it was nothing more than an unhinged rant, when in point of fact, it was an expression of the seething loathing and resentment that tens of millions of Americans share for the corrupt political class. A recent Gallup poll found that trust in our nation's fundamental institutions, we're talking across the board, our federal government, our legacy news media, law enforcement, elections, it's at an all-time low. And of course it is, because the gap between the people and the permanent political class has simply never been wider. What's so amazing in all of this is that the decades-long project of resentment politics has not worked. Ironically, we, the people, right now, are more united than we've ever been. We, the people, are more anti-war than we've ever been, even more than during the height of the Vietnam era. And yet, our permanent political class is absolutely obsessed with going to war. Russia, Russia, Russia. We've never been less racist than we are right now. Virtually every single study out there shows that racism has plummeted in our nation. And yet, our permanent political class has never been more obsessed with accusing us of racism. We, the people, are more united than ever before, and so our ruling elite are doing everything they possibly can to divide us. But it's not working. And all it's doing in the end is eroding what semblance of trust actually remains for our public institutions. So far from ranting about his own personal feelings towards Pelosi, Trump's post actually represented the sentiments of tens of millions of Americans. Trump made it clear that when it comes to 2024, the politics of resentment against a permanent political class are back. Hey, gang, I know what it's like to feel alone out there in these turbulent times, but I broke free. If you too have been looking for a community with like-minded patriots who are serious about resisting globalism, building a parallel economy, and having intelligent and deep fellowship on a regular basis, then you've come to the right place. In my Courageous Patriot Insiders community, we're building a close-knit movement of, by, and for patriots who are breaking free from the outrage and despair cycles of the mainstream media and taking on the fight against globalism. Every week, I deep dive into the content I can't share on big tech and give you the cliff notes on the truth of how patriots just like you are building up their communities, starting patriot businesses, and fighting the woke in both public and private. All with a few history and political lessons from yours truly, of course. If you want to stop feeling alone as a patriot and stand together with this fast-growing community, be sure to click on the link in the description below. Don't wait. Join me and my Patriot Coalition today, and let's get fighting.